everything leading up to this point?
Well, it starts in our summer. A couple of really important things happened, and management is so good at looking forward to looking back at what we need. We added 3 NHL defensemen, and that was the critical part of the start. And penalty killers. And then, kind of, I don't know if it fire out leadership, but I would say the character of the players that left, they all came back stronger. Didn't have much of a turnaround time, but in order to do that, you can't take much time off. And then you got to get heavy in the gym, and you got to compete for it. So when we come back in September, they're stronger than they were when they left. It'll be those 2 things. Bill and his staff did an incredible job finding the people to fill the holes, short and long term. And then the players did the work on their own.
Left side, second row.
As you reminded me the other day, I asked you about Tarasenko scoring, and you said won a series. So he fulfilled his quota, I guess, today, or?
Yes, for sure. But there's more to it, because his last 3 games have been fantastic and better each one, right? So he didn't bring an ego here. And I've got a really high expectation of him based on memory. I saw him in St. Louis when they beat us the year they won the Cup. He was so good in that series. And then he's a proud man as well, and he gets here, and he shows up, and we get all banged up. So we got a different line. He's on the left, he's the right. When we made the adjustment in this series, and he moved with Lundell's line, he did. He likes talking hockey on the bench. I think that's really important. So now he's talking to Barkey for a month, and then he gets in with Lundy, and nothing changed, right? So he put his ego aside, and has continued to get better for us. So I'm happy for him, because he wore it for a while. Not scoring that's the thing he's bringing, right? But he brought a lot more this series than that. But I'm happy for him too. And then I get to be right, so doesn't happen very often.
Front right.
2 things quick. Barkey just revealed that he defied you last year and touched the Prince of Wales trophy.
I think Sasha's got a pretty good sense of humor. I don't remember. All I know is there's a picture somewhere here and carrying it down the hallway. So at that point, I had to say I told him to, right? Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything, but we play our silly games.
I know you're going to say this is not about you, but what does this moment mean to you? I know last year was what it was, and to have a chance to go back, what does it mean to you as you sit here right now?
Well, it's last year I thought every series was an event and an achievement for how far we had traveled. And it did matter that it was Boston at 132 points. So it was a major deal. Like last year after we finished the Carolina series, trying to find the right word. Pandemonium is not the right word, but the energy level post-game was through the roof. Slightly subdued this year relative to that. It was lots of happy people, but maybe we've got a little more experience now. And I feel that way. Even on the bench, it wasn't insanity when the buzzer went. It was excitement, and rightfully so. They worked really hard to win. And I liked our 3rd period. To me, that's what it is for me. I walked away from that going, when the pressure got the greatest, we played our best hockey. 3rd period was outstanding.
Right side, third row.
Paul, I thought Luostarinen tonight was just unbelievable from the start to the finish. What is it about him that allows him to really come up big in this type of environment as a young guy?
Somebody told me hello, Jessica, back in. Oh, there you go. Somebody told me they got Lusty to do an interview. Well, that's awesome. So there's growth. I would say that what allowed that 3rd period and the game in total is that's him every day. That's the way he trains. His game, very, very consistent right from the start. I don't think I've had very much of an impact on him at all. The change was he was at 4th line center the year before, and he was just clearly in training camp a top 9 guy. And then he just played, like every practice, every game, he's on the puck. He doesn't take it practice off, doesn't take a shift off. So I don't think, I would credit the other coaches. There's a few guys that work really strongly individually with video, but he charted his own path to being as good as he was tonight. What you saw tonight is his game, and he just runs it every night.
Front right.
Paul, I want to ask you about the play of your D, your back line tonight. Eki and Forsling's pairing was great. You had big hits from Montour and Cooley out there. Just in a tight game like this, low scoring, how important was it for them not just to play well defensively, but to set the physical tone?
Yeah, in different areas. So they had a bit of an adjustment in their game. I felt they put a lot more pucks deep, ran far stronger forecheck than they did early, which drove, I think, shot attempts higher early in that game, maybe through the first 30 or parts of the first 30. RD are working heavy corner work, and that's hard to do. But that won't be what I show them. What I will show them is the line holds in the third. They play against so much speed. The first reaction for a defenseman is to give ice. It's natural and normal, especially with a 1-goal lead and the pressure of the moment, the game, the conference, potentially conference-ending game. They got really good and mobile at the line. The Montour hit in the third period. That's what I'll walk away. They were especially good. It takes some courage to hold a line against a team with that skill level. You can just as easily give ice and nobody will blame you, but the back end held the line.
Front left.
It seems like after last year's final, the mood was a lot more celebratory. This year, it's Kobe Bryant, job's not finished-esque. I mean, what makes this year's group so different in that kind of regard?
Experience helps you with a plan, for sure. They're just, on a personality basis, a more serious group, right? They were more even-keeled than last year's team, but we needed that last year. We needed them not to be even-keeled and be wired and jacked and celebratory. It was how we did get there. It's personality-based. They came back to camp with an eye on where they wanted to go, and we've seen that all year.
Take two more questions. Front left.
Paul, I guess looking back now, what stood out most about this Rangers team and the job that Peter Laviolette did throughout the course of this season?
Pete has an incredible ability to develop an identity with his teams. And you go back and the 2016 went to speed. Like, they timed that rule changes so very well. I think of Eric Cole. And then the Philadelphia team, almost the same idea, right? Michael Layton's in goal when they get to the Stanley Cup final. The Nashville team prior to 18, we played them in the semifinals to 7 games. I thought that was brilliant goaltending by Pittsburgh was the difference in that series. I mean, he has the ability to develop an identity with the team, and they can run hot because of that. I also thought that Igor Shesterkin, I haven't seen a series by a goaltender like that since Jose Theodore in 2002. He won the Hart Trophy that year. And we had a very similar experience until kind of the last game, where he was just lights out. We got in alone at least 4 times in games 1 through 5, and 6 times one game, and got nothing. Like that was, he was brilliant in this series. I just didn't think I needed help. You guys needed any help saying that, so I just tried to. Yeah, he's pretty good.
Last question, left side, second
Oh,
row.
we can't do that because she showed up here in a red shirt, so she's got to get a question in. She had her arm up, but we'll do 2 more. Go ahead.
Now, you don't know your opponent, but what do you think of the task ahead, whether it's Dallas or Edmonton?
I think there's a lot of New York Rangers in both these teams. Like, they're brilliant speed and dynamic off the rush. That would be our sense, that the Boston Bruins series to the New York Rangers series is completely different. This will be more akin to what we've seen in our last series. So we think we've seen three completely different styles in some ways. Tampa was such a dynamic, broken play team. I mean, you could subdue them for a while, but those guys could find a way. And then that Boston series was as physical and as nasty as a series I've ever been involved. Like the year before, the 80s, before they changed the rule, there was 86 hits in game one last year. It was the most physical game I've ever seen. But it took a year before it got mean. And that series was as mean and nasty as I've been a part of. And then this came out completely different D zones. Like the systems are completely, everything. There's a major shift for us. I think this will be more akin to what we see with the this series.
Last question, back left.
Coach, this is such a special team in the sense that they prioritize results for the team over individual results. And I'm
Yeah.
wondering how much that has played a role in what you guys have been able to do in the postseason.
It may be the most important thing for us. I'm walking out of I don't stay for the Puck Award or the awards they do. They kind of need me not to be there. And I've had it by that point. And I'm walking down the hallway last game, and it erupts. And the fact that, okay, so either Lundy just came off the ice, but it's not the normal cheer. It's a way louder cheer. It just sounded like everybody. And that was Mikkola presenting the cup to Gadjevich. He just had twins, right? He'd been gone from the team, and there were some challenges with that. So there's some concern with the whole thing. And then everybody's healthy and everybody's happy. What a wonderful thing for a player to be aware of. It's not always just the guys in the sweaters, right? It's the 27. It's the bigger group. So that's the soul of these guys. That's what makes them fun to be around.